All right, and here we are with the next step in our discovery and our conversations and our tussles about these 7 questions and these 7 promises that we believe can help all of us as implementers to help companies and leadership teams as well as employees get really clear about what are the steps to, well, it's moving way beyond dysfunction. What are the steps to really becoming that ideal organization which promotes everybody, encourages, creates a pathway for everybody to begin living that ideal life that we call the EOS life. So, we're now talking about Am I Heard? Yeah. So, Walt, what does that mean to you?
Am I heard? I mean, clearly this comes from millennials, right? That's sort of the joke. It's the easiest. It's the easiest one. And the question is that we're asking is the team members saying, I understand and embrace how I'm heard and how my organization listens. And when you think about, what we're trying to describe here in sort of the efforts, back to the effort era, this is where it flips, where it's up to the organization to be super consistent on how it listens. And it's got to spend 30% of its time saying, this is when the channel opens and this is when the channel closes. If that issue is being talked about over here, that issue is being talked about over here. Just being super clear on how we listen as an organization. Almost all of the EOS tools are listening tools, frankly. And so it's up to it's up to the organization to be super clear. This is the way we listen. And then it's like 70% of the load comes into the individual that if you want to be heard, this is where and how you're heard. Just saying, hey, I said it so-and-so and nobody heard me. That's not what we're asking here. We're saying, did you go through the right channel? Did you put the issue on the issues list properly? Did you fill out your scorecard? Did you report on your rocks? Did you do all these things? Did you attend your quarterly conversation? And were you really there? Those are your opportunities to be heard. And so it really is saying, I understand and embrace how my company listens.
And when we say, am I heard, does that include, am I understood?
It's a good question. I think if they're feeling like they're not being understood, they're going to score low on that question. Right.
So it's not just, well, we gave you the chance, you stood up and you talked, and we just dismissed it immediately.
Yes, not that.
Was I understood? Because it seems to me, well, that's my experience, is that what every human being wants is they want to be heard and understood. Now,
exactly.
If the decision is goes in a different direction, well, convince me, tell me why. That's okay, but I got my chance, and I was heard and understood.
And this is where it's just so important for us to use the tools. There's a tool matrix we talk about where you have the questions across the top, and then the EOS tools down the side. And we're basically saying put a check mark in the box where the tool is helping answer yes to the question. You get to the level 10 and IDS. That's heard and understood. IDSing is heard and understood. That's not like,
yes.
I throw an issue up there and we didn't carve out time to talk about it. That is really where we're answering and getting to heard. You're heard through a scorecard. Devin, here's the numbers I'm putting up. I'm suffering over here. I can't make my numbers. You're heard with whether your rocks are on track or off track. You're heard through the quarterly conversation for sure. There's other ways to be heard, but EOS is giving us opportunity to be heard and to be understood. Lots of angles at it.
And I think as well the discipline. We talk about tools, and I think the discipline in this case of saying to people, we expect you to participate in the IDS session. We expect you to bring issues. I know from my personal experience that employees in my organization sometimes have said to me, well, I wouldn't dare say anything about that because you're the owner.
Right.
And I have to just continually, initially, train them to say, part of your role. I am paying you to perform the
Yeah.
role of saying to me, this is where you're getting in the way, Will.
Right.
Or,
Yeah.
you could really help us if you would, or if you would stop. But that's that. It's really the discipline in helping people to learn that I
Yeah.
might be even let's go to the extreme. I might be an undocumented alien who is working in the depths of the manufacturing for this
Yeah.
company, but I have an opinion or I have input, and you
Yeah.
want it. And
Right.
helping them to see it's not just the sweeping, it's not just the wrench turning. It is all of you that we want to be part of this organization.
Yeah, and when you're dead on, and when you see where the question of hurt is after you belong here, and hey, we understand you believe here, and you know what you're accountable for, and it's super clear, and you're contributing to this. You're doing what you love with people you love doing it with, and you're
Right?
contributing, and we're measuring you. It's you know, how can you not be heard? How we want your
You
voice
can
to stand
you
up.
cannot be heard if you don't say anything.
Exactly. So you can't drag them all in, and even to the point of, we have neutrally engaged employees just barely above the energy line, and then actively engaged. The actively engaged, we definitely got to be listening and being super clear there. Some people are really fine. You're not going to hear from those as much, but
Mm-hmm.
keeping the channels open is a perfect example of clients say, well, we're going to run our level 10, every other week, and fireworks are going off, and say, no, you can't do that, because if you miss 1 week, one cycle, you've missed a month. It's a month between times when you've communicated. There's a reason that
Right.
we're every week. The channel opens every week. Humans need to be heard. I just
And recognizing the value that is brought to the organization by that 90 minutes or 60 minutes that's
or
given
eight,
to that L10, that's appropriate time, but
yeah.
recognizing what is the value that brings to the company. It's all of these things. It's
Well,
the
and the value,
engagement.
yeah, the value not to just the company, but to the individual. The thing
Oh
that
my
takes
goodness.
2/3 of a level 10 is an IDS. And the whole idea is for them to be putting issues on the table that are holding them back from honoring their job, honoring their roles, honoring how they fit into the organization. This is their time to put it out there. And it's like the answers and the tools. You can get the yes to heard really easy, but just doing it. But that's like, here it is, guys. The channel opens every single week, and we're not going to skip it.
And what is it that we say to the leadership team? We say, I don't have to bring answers here. I get to ask questions because 95% of the answers are already in the room.
Especially as you get further out to the frontline people doing the work. All you have to do there is facilitate
Yes.
and open it up, and
Think
they'll
about
bring it. They'll bring it.
think
Yeah,
think about those mid-level managers and those supervisors who think my job is to get all of this stuff done, when helping them to understand LMA means helping every one of those people
yeah,
know that they belong, know that they, help them to believe, help them to be accountable and measured, and make
heard.
sure that everybody is being heard.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly. Know where it is. Just
I
ties
haven't
off.
heard from you, John. In the whole meeting, I haven't heard from you. Tell me more about it. What are you thinking? Oh, my goodness. All right. I mean, this is powerful, powerful stuff.
Yeah,
Just
all
amazing.
of LMA is about hearing, teaching leaders and managers how to communicate and hear.
And
It is.
I mean, to me, that is one of the most powerful tools that we have, not
It
just
is
as a tool, but as a discipline
right.
for that manager to move from my job is to tell people what to do and get them to do it to my job is to create the vision. I mean, to share the vision, create the opening, ask
Yep.
people what part they want to play, help create the measurement that we
Yep.
agree on, create the opportunity for them to speak, and
Yep.
and help them accomplish what they want to accomplish.
Yeah. You really
Wow.
can't. You can't roll out the 7 until you've done LMA.
Oh,
because it's just
absolutely.
an important part of, because built into LMA are all the important tools of clarity breaks, keeping your confidence up, doing a quarterly conversation, all that's like built in. So it's but the two work together really super well. You can
Oh,
map LMA questions
but
to seven really well.
is your system for delivering the 7 questions to do LMA in the first quarter and then
I used to
follow it
do
up with?
Yeah, I do LMA in the first quarter, and then I'm rolling out EOS in the first big state of the company on parallel to the 7 questions. We're doing this for you, not to you. This is why. That might not be pure, but I know that a lot of
Uh, uh,
people are doing
I'll never tell anybody, Walt. I'll
it.
never tell anybody.
4-letter word. Oh, good.
Well,
It really works. It's just flip the script, man. You gotta do it for them and not to them. And once you
exactly,
get all those
exactly.
foundational tools in place, then you're ready to roll. It's just,
All right.
yeah, man.
So that is Am I Heard? So we're
Yeah,
going to moving on to the next one. Am I being developed? How am I
yeah,
being developed? All right. So looking forward to the next one. Take
yeah.
care.